All right. Welcome back to another YouTube Q&A. Normally I do these on my Instagram story, but recently there's a few questions that I didn't get around to answer on my IG stories, and I knew that I wanted to answer them in more detail here on YouTube. There's also one question that I already answered on my stories. However, I want to go in more depth here on YouTube, give you the best possible answer. So let's get right on into it. Let's go. Okay, first question here is how to reduce snacking late at night. It's the $1 million question, right? The reason you have such a hard time snacking late at night, we're talking 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, is because you are used to eating at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. Hunger largely runs on a time schedule. Your body knows when you're used to eating, and it's gonna send signals to you saying, hey, it's time to eat. We normally eat at 9 p.m., we normally have a snack or a dessert. Let's do that again tonight. So the reason you're so hungry at that time is because that's what you do on a regular basis. You can't expect to just suddenly not feel hunger at that time when that's just something that's become a routine for you. So the first tip that I have for you here is just like force yourself to go a few days without eating at that time intentionally. This is something that I've actually done recently. I got to a point where I realized I was eating a little too much late at night. It wasn't like I had to not eat that much at night because I would go over my calories. It was more from like a food quality perspective. I would, when I eat late at night, it's not celery and carrots. And you probably can relate to this. It's chips, it's cookies, it's baked goods, it's ice cream. It's kind of the more processed stuff that I'm trying to minimize in my diet. And so what I said to myself is, listen, if I want to eat less of this stuff, let me prove to myself that I'm capable of eating a good nutrient-dense dinner, filling up on that, and then being done for the night. And the first few days of doing that is really freaking hard. It really is, because you're so used to eating that hunger sets in at around 8, 9, 10 o'clock. But what happens is, number one, on the first day you realize it's not that big of a deal. You don't have to eat. If you finish your dinner at 7 and you go to bed at 10, you're gonna survive if you don't eat for a few hours. It's gonna be hard. You're gonna feel hungry those first few nights, but you're gonna survive. You're gonna go to bed, you're gonna brush your teeth, you're gonna be fine, and you're gonna wake up in the morning probably feeling better. You're not gonna have as much food sitting in your stomach. It's probably gonna be a more enjoyable experience. But if you are someone that feels like you're too reliant on eating at night, you gotta break that habit by breaking the habit. You are in control of that. And it's not that you have to do this forever. You can eat late at night and you can still reach your goals and still hit your calories. But if you're someone who feels like you're too reliant on that, it's become too much of a habit, you don't really like that, force yourself to break that habit for a few days, and trust me, you're gonna realize it's not that big of a deal. You'll survive. And just this kind of one more note on that, if you're someone that you try that and you're like, I feel famished at 9 o'clock at night, that is your telltale sign that something is off with your nutrition earlier in the day. Maybe your meals are not satisfying enough, maybe you're not eating enough protein, maybe you're not eating enough fiber, but if you feel like famished at night and you're like, your stomach is like growling like crazy, you probably need to eat more earlier in the day. But remember, some hunger late at night is not an issue. You're gonna survive, you're gonna be okay. If you're watching this video right now, you have Wi-Fi, you have a phone, you have a computer, you probably are gonna have access to food the next day. So don't feel like you have to eat something just because I don't wanna go to bed hungry. It's okay to go to bed hungry once in a while. In fact, if you're trying to be in a calorie deficit and lose weight, going to bed a little bit hungry is actually your sign that you're in a calorie deficit. It's normal. It's not something to avoid. I think we've been conditioned in this society that like every time we have just a little bit of hunger, we have to give into it. We gotta satisfy it. You don't have to. As long as you're eating a full breakfast, a full lunch, a full dinner, you're getting a sufficient amount of calories, you're getting enough protein in, you're eating enough nutrient quality, high quality foods. If you don't eat as much late at night and you break that habit, you're gonna be okay. And then once you prove to yourself that you're capable of not eating late at night, then you can slowly reintroduce some foods at that time and maybe eat some stuff more in moderation. But it starts with you proving to yourself that you will be okay if you don't give into that hunger every single night. By the way, I'm filming this YouTube video on my iPhone. Normally I film these on my Sony camera with the whole mic set up. This is just so much easier. I like this a lot. I have my phone set up on a little mini tripod right here, just more raw, it's more real. Just pick up my phone, film. I like this. I'm gonna start doing this a lot more. It's nice. Okay, next question. How harmful is sugar, and should you be trying to avoid sugar when you're losing weight? Here's the thing about sugar. Not all sugar is created equal. The sugar from watermelon or an apple or strawberries is not the same as sugar from ice cream or sour Skittles or cookies, because the context in which you're consuming the sugar determines how healthy or unhealthy it is. When you consume fruit, when you eat fruit, yes, you're getting some sugar. It's natural sugar though, but you're getting so many other healthy stuff along with it. Micronutrients, polyphenols, antioxidants, so much stuff that's so good for your health that to even worry about how much sugar is in that thing is just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous, because you should never be trying to avoid that food, because if you do avoid it, you're missing out on all the health benefits you're getting from those micronutrients. Whereas something like candy doesn't have any nutritional value for you. And so you're getting sugar, but you're not getting anything good in addition to it. If you follow anybody on social media that tells you you should not be eating fruit because it has sugar, please, 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 please unfollow their ass. Unfollow them. They do not have your best interests in mind. They don't. Because unless you are diabetic and your doctor has advised you to eat certain foods, that's a different conversation. But if you're someone that has no pre-existing issues and you're trying to avoid fruit because it has sugar, your priorities are completely screwed up. You're stepping over dollars to pick up pennies, without a doubt. Please eat fruit and do not be scared of the sugar in fruit. Also, here's another reason why sugar isn't as harmful as people make it out to seem. Let me give you a hypothetical situation. Let's say you have someone who eats a really healthy diet. Healthy breakfast, healthy lunch, healthy dinner, plenty of protein, plenty of fruits, plenty of veggies, plenty of fiber throughout the day, and they decide to have a Reese's peanut butter cup at night. Would you say that them having that piece of candy completely ruined their entire diet? Of course not. Why? Because it made up such a small percentage of their diet that any unhealthy aspect of that food is pretty much completely negated by the fact that it's a small percentage of their diet. If they were only eating Reese's peanut butter cups and only eating a bunch of processed crap, yeah, that's a problem. But because the vast majority of their diet is healthy, nutrient dense, giving them the protein and nutrients that they need, they absolutely have room in their diet for something that's more fun, something that's a little bit less healthy. This is why this is all context dependent. For someone like me who already eats plenty of healthy food, I can have some sugar in my diet and it's not the end of the world. Whereas someone who that's their entire diet, they drink a ton of soda, they eat a ton of ice cream, they need to be mindful of this stuff because they're over consuming sugar. Yeah, it's a health concern. They probably also are overweight. But for someone who's already eating pretty healthy, you can absolutely include sugar in your diet and it's not deleterious whatsoever. Sugar is totally fine to eat in moderation. And you always got to remember that one singular food eaten one time in isolation does not cause negative long-term health outcomes. It's what you do the majority of the time that has the biggest impact. That's why I said earlier, I wanted to get out of the habit of eating processed food every single night. I felt like it was becoming too much of a habit. So I got myself out of that habit because what I do the majority of the time is what matters. But if once in a while I want to have something at night, a cookie, a brownie, some ice cream, it's no big deal at all. And then I just get right back on track the next day. Don't avoid sugar because you think it's super harmful. Just be mindful of what percentage of your diet is made up of those kinds of foods. All right, last question here before I head off to the grocery store. This is one I already answered about a week ago or so on my IG story, a little longer than that. But I wanted to go a little bit more in depth here. Question is, what do I struggle with the most when it comes to fitness? I make a lot of content on what other people struggle with and how to go about solving those issues. But I guess I don't talk a ton about what I struggle with. I'm going to say this. It's not training. It's not workouts. It's not to say that I am always super motivated to go to the gym, super motivated to get my workouts done. I'm not. I'm human. Just because I'm a coach doesn't mean that I'm always amped up, let's go, let's get these workouts in. It's not my personality necessarily. But I have made it a habit. I have made it a routine. And because of that, I don't really need my sunglasses. Because of that, I've gotten to a point where it's just routine for me. It's habit. What I struggle with the most is nutrition, for sure. And this is a perfect segue from the other two questions that I already answered, because it kind of combines both of them in a way. What I struggle the most with is finding that balance between eating nutrient-dense foods while still including the foods that I really enjoy. And the reason I struggle with this is because I'm not one of these trainers who eats chicken breast and broccoli at every meal. I eat very healthy most of the time, but I enjoy a lot of really unhealthy foods. I love chips. I can go through a bag of party-sized chips like that. I love cookies. I love ice cream. I love pizza. I love burgers. I'm just listing off a bunch of unhealthy foods. I love this stuff. And for me to sit here and say that just because I'm a coach, I don't eat them, I'd be lying to you. There are coaches who eat clean all the time, and for them, it might work. For me, I really enjoy those foods. So my biggest struggle is finding that balance. And that's why, like I said earlier in the video, like recently I've been trying to maybe not eat as much processed stuff at night and get in the habit of sticking to a little bit of a healthier routine from that perspective. But like with the second question that I answered, I still eat sugar in moderation and I don't feel bad about it because I know it's not harmful for my health. I think that the thing that I struggle with the most, though, is when I lean too far into eating some unhealthy stuff. And then it's not really an issue from a calorie perspective, because like my maintenance calories is close to 3,000. So I can eat like 2,900 calories a day and maintain my weight. The issue for me is the, digestion issues that come with it, bloating and stuff like that comes with eating processed foods. Lower energy levels, not feeling as sharp. If I eat a bunch of chips at 9:30 at night, I probably am not going to feel super great the next morning. So the thing that I try to find that balance between is allowing myself to eat those foods and not feeling bad about it, but at the same time eating a mostly nutrient-dense diet that I'm proud of, that makes me feel good. It makes my day-to-day life more enjoyable, more energy, less lethargy, and just feeling better. So if any of you have the answer to that, of how to balance the two, let me know, because it's a constant battle of trying to figure it out. But I think I've done a pretty decent job of getting to that point where, I think I have a pretty good relationship with food where I'm able to not really live on the extremes. I never go through periods where I just eat clean all the time. And I really don't go through periods where I eat like crap all the time. I find that balance, but the struggle is, what's the ratio between the two? What percentage of the time are you eating nutrient dense versus not? I always go with kind of the 80-20 rule. 80% of my diet is whole nutrient dense foods, and then 20% is where I give myself that leeway, but trying my best to not allow that little bit of leeway I give myself to turn into just like an all-out free-for-all, where I'm able to eat whatever I want. Because even though I might have more calories to work with than the average person, I still have to be mindful of nutrient quality and making sure I'm eating to fuel my workouts and just fuel my day-to-day life so I can feel good. So that's my biggest struggle, and I think I've improved on it, but I think there's always work to be done, because this whole fitness thing is a never-ending journey of just trying to get better over time, and I'm on that journey just like everybody else. Anyway, that's the Q&A. Just 3 questions this time. If you have any additional questions for me on any of this stuff, feel free to leave a comment down below in the comment section, or you can DM me on Instagram. Most of you probably already follow me on Instagram if you're watching this, but if you don't, it's just Dylan Holvey Fitness. Make sure you follow me over there. I post daily. And thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button and also subscribe for more content so you're notified when I post another video. And I'll see you in the next one.